Bust it.
Busting it out here on Tankers Fantasy Football. And this video might take a little bit longer because we're going to bust into some hardcore matchups. I know that waiver wire video was short enough. Always short enough you could watch it while you poop, people. But this time it might take a little bit longer, so maybe you little longer poopers might be able to enjoy yourselves out there. But we're going to get into some matchups and start off some quarterback plays this week. And Matt Ryan, I think, is the sexy boy quarterback start of the week at home versus them shitliner Niners.
Another very, very solid play. We got Captain Kirk going against that Carolina secondary, just absolutely brutal, giving up the second most passing yards as well as the sixth most passing touchdowns on the season.
Phillip Rivers, I know he's kind of been, middle end, kind of been like an average Joe since like week 5. He hasn't really had that big of a sexy week since like week 5. But he's played the Raiders at home, and they're giving up the sixth most yards. And, Dontrell Inman's starting to come around, and Tyrell Williams has been looking good.
And might have to throw it now a little bit more that Gordon's banged up.
Yeah, so I think it might be all systems go, Uncle Phil this week. And one more guy, it's kind of a waiver wire guy if you're in desperate need. Tyrod Taylor against the Browns, and they're giving up the most touchdowns and points to quarterbacks thus far, so that's not the worst play ever if you absolutely need somebody out there.
All right, for bad matchups here, Drew Brees, who besides the last 2 games not even throwing a touchdown, he's going against the Arizona Cardinals, who've given up the 3rd fewest yards as well as the 2nd fewest touchdowns.
Oh, we might have to give Drew Brees the old quarterback sit of the week out there. I mean, my goodness, 0 touchdowns, 6 picks the last 2 games, turned down to Arizona. Michael Thomas might actually sit this one out too. I don't know, Drew. I know you've been sexy boy deluxe for most of the season, but I might have to hit you with the sit out there. I mean, my goodness, it's not getting any easier for him. What do we got? Stafford with a rough matchup against the Giants, giving up the 2nd fewest TDs and the 4th fewest points to quarterbacks, and he's got
Not to mention the fracture and the torn ligaments in the finger.
Got that middle finger all banged up on his throwing hand. I don't know, Matt Stafford, kind of on the ropes. We'll look for he might be a sit this week as well. And you can't sit this guy. I know you can't sit Tom Brady, but
it does not get any tougher than this. Playing Denver, in Denver, giving up not only the least amount of yards, but the least amount of passing touchdowns as well.
Oh, it's a rough road.
It's tough to sit him, but if you've got a decent guy that you're feeling pretty good about, you might have to wait till next week to put Brady in your lineup if you make it. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, if you got anybody else out, any other might have one of them good matchups we just talked about. But Brady's got some tough sledding this week out there in Denver. Let's break into some good running back matchups. We got McCoy playing the Browns. We're giving up the 2nd most yards of running backs. That's pretty sexy out there.
Yeah, LeGarrette Blount, who's been very solid. He's looked good even last week here. He's got a pretty easy matchup. Believe it or not, Denver, we've talked about their run defense is just not even comparable to their pass defense, giving up the 3rd most yards on the season.
Yeah, another guy who's kind of turned it around after he came back from injury, and Latavius Murray has just kind of been your sexy boy out there. He gets the Chargers this week, are giving up the 4th most touchdowns to running backs, and Latavius Murray has kind of turned into that touchdown guy for you out there. He's been just piling on the touchdowns this second half of the season. Latavius Murray is as solid as an RB2 play as it gets.
And a guy in Jay Ajayi, a nice matchup. He had a tough matchup last week, but should get it going against the Jets, who gave up a humongous game last week to the likes of Carlos Hyde, putting up, 200 yards on him almost?
Yeah, 200 total yards on him, 200 total yards on him, and Sean Drone even got in the end zone out there. Oh, I know it's the Matt Moore show, but I think that might be a heavy run script game plan, and even if the Jets aren't going to run away with this game, so the Dolphins are never going to have to abandon the run, even with the Matt Moore show out there. I think Ajayi is a solid RB2 play. Even, you got to let him carry the ball 20 times out there against the Jets. I mean, Matt Moore, who knows? Hell, maybe even old boy Matt Moore isn't that much of a downgrade from Ryan Tannehill. I mean, it's not like Ryan Tannehill is the undying love out there. It is not. Who we got? Rolling on down to Jeremy Hill, who has a good matchup against the Steelers. They're giving the fourth most points to running backs this year, so I think it's all systems go Jeremy Hill for an RB2.
Another AFC North back, we got DeCrow, Isaiah Crowell, going against the Bills, giving up the second most points overall to running backs this year.
I know Crow hasn't gotten the end zone since, what, week 8 for you?
It's been rough. He had a
And
100-yard
he did.
game last week.
Off only like 10 carries. Then he got 10 carries for 100 yards. And if the Browns are smart, and I know they're not.
And
I
in
mean-
the Bills, but the Bills might allow to keep
No, they're
the
not.
Browns in the game, which is good for Crow. Pushing, if he can
You just
get
gotta hope
15 carries.
RG3 doesn't steal another goal line carry like he did last week and sneak his ass into the end zone, because that's heartbreaker dream taker. If you're working with the Crow out there and you're starting line, watching RG3 sneak the ball in the end zone, you just want to vomit in your mouth. We got Freeman and Coleman going against that shitliner Niners D.
I think both are solid starts.
Solid starts. Borderline RB1s, both of them. Solid as it gets RB2s, worst case scenario.
Yeah, I think Freeman, I think he's going to be a top 3 play this week at the running back position. All right, a guy that we talked about picking up off of waivers in our video last night that we put up, and Bilal Powell. All right, this guy put up 30 points last week, got in the end zone, 200 yards. I think this is going to be his offense here going forward.
I mean, I'm saying if anybody in the National Football League besides the sexy boy bell cows like David Johnson, Ezekiel Elliott, and Le'Veon Bell get more of the lion's share of the work, we're talking about 90% or more of the carries. I'm thinking Bilal Powell is one of those guys this week, because Matt Forte's out there here and snapping and popping and all kinds of fucky things in his knee. And I think that points to all arrows up Bilal Powell this week. I think it's all systems go. RB2 Bilal Powell, feel good about yourself.
Yeah, especially since he's been shown flashes all year that he can carry the load.
Well, these next two guys are kind of on the ropes, They're pretty bad, having kind of shitliners all year for you. But they do have a good matchup. McKinnon and Asiata do have a good matchup against the Colts, who are giving up the fourth most yards and the third most points to running backs this year. So I guess if you're on the absolute ropes, you need like an RB3. These guys could be your boy, but I just don't know.
All right, let's get into a little rougher matchups here. We're gonna stick with the running backs here, but we're gonna go with a guy who's been looking very good past few weeks here. But we're gonna give Jordan Howard, playing against the Packers, giving up just the third fewest yards from scrimmage from running backs.
Yeah, another guy who's kind of playing out there against a NFC Central guy up in Minnesota, Frank Gore. Heading into Minnesota, and the Vikings are only giving up the third fewest touchdowns to running backs. And I know Gore's kind of been your boy, and you probably got to run him out there no matter what. But I just temper a little bit of expectations against Vikings. And now we got the sit of the week in running backs. The shit gun has risen once again. And we're going to load it up. We're going to cock it and load it for Mark Ingram and Tim Hightower. We just can't get anything fucking going these last couple of weeks, and they're heading down to Arizona, where it's just Stonewall. Cardinals giving up the second fewest scrimmage yards. Giving up the fewest amount of scrimmage yards to running backs and the second fewest points to running backs. I think it's bench. I know Mark Ingram let you down last week, but if you're still somehow in the fantasy playoffs and you got this dick cheese, I think you got to put him on your bench and sit him there firmly, baby. Cock it up one more time, Mark Ingram. Fuck him.
All right, Spencer Ware, who, he's still getting a pretty good share of the load, but West got a goal line touch over him. He is not pulling away from this backfield whatsoever.
He's not a lion share type of guy. He's playing the Titans. They're getting the fourth fewest yards and the third fewest touchdowns to running backs, and I don't know. I know you probably got to run him out there, but if I had any other options, I'd probably strongly consider benching old Spencer this week.
And another guy you're probably going to run out, and actually had a pretty nice game for. What do you have, 19 points last week, Todd Gurley? got you about 20 points playing on Thursday night to the Seahawks
Oh,
in Seattle,
no.
fresh off a Jeff Fisher firing.
I mean, my fucking goodness, Rams. You don't even know how to fire shit right. Like, you're like, yeah, I know everybody's been busting our chops. We need to fire Jeff Fisher. We're like, fine, we'll finally do it. Well, don't fucking do it on the Monday of the week you'd play a Thursday night football game, Rams, you fucking mooks. You can't just let this bum hang around until... I mean, a better time to do it is right after the game Thursday, after he gets his shit pushed
Just
in.
don't let him get on the plane.
After he gets his shit pushed in up in Seattle, just be like, you know, we're going to let you go, you know. So Thursday, now you got from Friday till the next Sunday to get your new interim coach ready to go and signed up and get his plan going for the game. And now it's just going to be a goddamn shit show. Nobody's going to know what the fuck's going on out there. I do not expect. I mean, watch the goddamn Rams win this fucking game. Oh my fuck! You know, the Rams have won the last 3 games against the Seahawks. That's serious. That's serious. And if they pull this shit out of their ass tomorrow, oh my God, Rams are magic, baby. We got Theo Riddick. Even if he does play, the Giants are giving him the 5th fewest points to running back. So I don't know. Especially in standard league, I think even if he does play, Theo Riddick's a solid sit out there. We got more Redskins action Monday night.
Redskins, Kelly, I think's got to be a sit.
Yeah, he's got to be a sit. He's kind of been your waiver wire darling, but the Panthers are very tough. I mean, they give it up through the pass, but they are very tough against the rush, only getting up his 3rd fewest touchdowns of running backs thus far. And Robert Kelly's kind of a touchdown guy out there. He's not really a ball-catching deluxe guy out there. And Booker and all the other all the other fucking donk running backs. The Pats are 3rd fewest touchdowns in the league. I don't know. The Denver running backs have all been a kind of a shit show since C.J. Anderson went down. I'd probably bench all them bums too.
And we got Kenneth Dixon here, who he's got a tough matchup, but he's still very heavily involved in that offense. So I think if you have to play him, you can temper expectation because the Eagles giving up the 7th fewest scrimmage yards to backs. But he is drastically getting more plays out there.
Oh, he had 40 more snaps than Terrence Westlake. I mean, my goodness, 40 more? That's a ridiculous amount. That's a workhorse amount. He is going to be the one.
Catches
Yeah, he
too.
gets the catches too. He's a RB3. Give him the RB3 label, baby. I'm feeling it. We're going into wide receivers and with some goods. All Redskins, all racial slurs. Sign them up against the Panthers, or giving up the 4th most yards to wide receivers. I'm down. Jamison Crowder's been kind of shit-lining it for you these last couple weeks besides that touchdown he had, but I'm feeling the resurrection of the Jamison Crowder this week on Monday Night Football, people.
And we talked a little earlier about Uncle Philip Rivers, having a very solid matchup against Oakland. And I think with that, you got to go with Tyrell Williams, who let you down a little last week. And Dontrell Inman, who's been very, very solid and
coming on strong out there, Dontrell.
Still available on an awful lot of waiver wires.
Get up on him. The Raiders are not stout against the pass. Dontrell Inman's getting the targets these last few weeks. He might be your boy going down because Travis Benjamin is dead.
They can't even throw it to him. They got to let him run the ball and get negative 2 yards.
He's non-existent. I think they got him listed as a starter. That's a joke.
He's like, I think he's gone over 4. I think his high water mark over the past 5 games has been 4 points.
Ah, he's filth. Another guy who's been kind of your boy the second half of the season, waiver wire deluxe, Rashard Matthews. I know it's surprising, but the Chiefs are giving up the most yards to the wide receivers thus far, and I think
they're just very shocking.
Load him up, Rashard Matthews, wide receiver 2, feeling good about it, baby. And another guy, Jordan Matthews. Another Matthews. I mean, the Ravens are going to be kind of been slacking against the pass because they're second most in points to wide receivers and giving up the most touchdowns to wide receivers. And they're going to be probably missing Jimmy Smith, who gimped off the field with an ankle injury Monday night. And he's their top secondary member. If they're missing him, I think it's all systems go, Jordan Matthews.
And not the same Jimmy Smith, but Jimmy Smith for the Jags, inducted to the Ring of Fame, whatever you want to call it.
Not the house arrest, Jimmy Smith.
Not the coke addict.
Not the house arrest. The cornerback for the Ravens. Okay, moving on to some bad matchups. Fucking Saints receivers in Arizona.
Who gonna let you down again?
There you are. They're just going to let you down again. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it.
Michael Thomas.
Bench him.
Michael Thomas might not play, and Brandon Cooks, if he does play, Arizona's on lockdown against him.
Ah, screw them all. I got Terrell Pryor, who just looked anemic out there. I mean, do you
Looking
see,
like a trash
do you
can.
see, oh my God, Pac-Man Jones running his goddamn mouth. But what did you expect when you put the camera in front of Pac-Man Jones after he just shut down a guy who's been doing very well? He's held him to one catch for 3 yards out there, Pac-Man Jones. And I just don't know what to expect. I mean, I know Terrell Pryor was like a top 10, top 12 wide receiver going into his bye week in week 13, but I don't know. With RG3 at the helm, I am scared. I think he's more on the line. He's more of a boom or bust play anymore. And he's coming off a serious clunker, and the Bills are only allowing the 8th most points to wide receivers thus far. It's not like he gets a cherry matchup out there either. It's rough.
And I think all Rams receivers have to be a sit this week against the Seahawks in Seattle.
Can't fuck around with that.
Yeah, you can't even think about putting those guys in your lineup.
Can't
this
fuck
week.
around with that shit. Hilton, I mean, I know he's going to be the only gunman on the shit out there with Dante Moncrief out.
You're going to start him out there.
Oh, you're starting him. I'm not saying don't start him. But the Vikings are giving up the 2nd fewest yards and the 4th fewest touchdowns to wide receiver, but I think he's just going to get enough targets that he's going to be able to produce no matter what. I mean, he's getting double-digit targets.
Yeah, I think it's going to be volume. He's going to save you for about that 18-point range.
Oh, yeah, he's getting them double-digit targets. Edelman, Mitchell, and the like are over there. Chris Hogan, the Hulkster. And they are playing against the Donkeys, the Broncos, and Denver, and they're getting up the least yards and the least touchdowns to wide receivers. I think it's a strong set. I know Malcolm Mitchell has been your guy these last few weeks, kind of helping you get into the playoffs and kind of helping you that week 1 of the playoffs if you played last week. But I think Malcolm Mitchell is a strong sit this week against the Broncos.
Yeah, I think Edelman, you definitely going to be having in your lineup. I think he'll be in the slot enough to get rid of those outside corners. So I think he'll volume as well, along with Ty. He's going to get you some decent
I just think
points.
Malcolm Mitchell's too young of a player to go out there and compete with a guy like Aqib Talib on the outside. I just think it's bad news for him. But, I mean, who knows? With the Patriots, he could rise from the depths of the sea. Golden Tate, the Giants are giving him the 3rd fewest touchdowns and the 6th fewest points to wide receivers, but
It looked very good against Dallas, too. I mean, Dez Bryant
very good.
couldn't catch the ball again, but, I mean, he only had that one catch and ended up fumbling it. Before that, they were on lockdown against him.
Complete lockdown. Allen Robinson. Let's just do it real quick because I fucking hate you, Allen Robinson. You ruined my life. Well, you tried to ruin my life. I'm still in the playoffs, you piece of shit, but you tried to ruin my life. I'm giving it to you. And we're going to fucking, he's playing against the Houston D. We're giving him the 4th fewest yards and the 4th fewest touchdowns to wide receiver. And I know his only 100-yard game on the season was against the Houston D, but I'm still saying no way. I mean, he's got like 4 points and 2 points the last 2 weeks
Marquise
in PPR.
Lee's a far better option.
Get out of here, Allen Robinson. You can't start him whatsoever. And
another guy that I think you got to heavily think about sitting is DeAndre Hopkins.
See, the Jags are getting the 5th fewest yards, and he is just he is like bust or middle and bum. There is no boom or bust. He's middle and bum or bust. It's like his high water mark is like 14 or 15 PPR points. Then he can get you those 3 or 5 points though too. Watch out. He's a shitliner. I have no faith
Especially
whatsoever.
against Jalen Ramsey.
I have no faith whatsoever in Allen Robinson or DeAndre Hopkins moving the season's almost over, but you know,
If you're still in the playoffs and they're on your
if you
roster,
survive the dickery that is these 2 jack-off bums, bench them. Bench them. If you're still in your playoffs, even though you own these 2 jack-off bums, bench them, move forward without them, tight end time, push it down their throats. Greg Olsen.
getting back on it.
Greg Olsen, good matchup Monday night. Redskins give up the 2nd most yards, 2 tight ends. Greg Olsen shined last week with an 80-yard performance after he's been dick riding you for a good month or so.
And I think Jordan Reed gets it back at you. He had 2 points last week. Really wasn't even involved in the offense. He obviously was still a little banged up. Going against the Panthers, giving up the second most touchdowns and points overall to tight
Oh,
ends.
if Jordan Reed somehow gets in a full practice by Friday, I think he is all systems go, sexy boy, against them Panthers on Monday Night Football. And we got some bad tight end matchups. Delaney Walker. Chiefs are giving up the least amount of touchdowns and points to tight ends this year. I know it's a tough fucking road to say bench Delaney Walker, but that might be the score.
And it's tough to sit the corn here. We got Martellus Bennett.
The black unicorn.
But going against Denver, who we've talked about already, giving up the third fewest TDs, and he needs those touchdowns.
He is a very touchdown-dependent tight end. And, yeah, the Donkeys are kind of swelling out there. And I know if anybody on the Patriots might get in the end zone, it could be him. But I just wouldn't expect very much from him this week. And one more, Dennis Pettis playing the Eagles. They're giving the second fewest yards and the third fewest points to tight ends. And I know Dennis has kind of did it for a couple weeks ago, but I don't know. I gotta sit old Dennis. Sit him. Rock him.
All right, I think that wraps it up for this week here. So once again, give us a like, leave a comment, give us all your questions. We'll answer them for you. Get us on that Twitter. We'll be giving you that hot scoop late, right up until game times on Sunday.
Give it to me, baby. What is the deal? Fuck it. Fuck it. I was gonna play you Goodbye Horses. It's not playing. So screw it. This is loaded up on my thing. I'm gonna try. We're gonna hit you. We're gonna try to.
We'll see what we get
I
here.
don't know. I'll probably play an ad. Screw it. See you guys later. Fuck it all, right?
Good luck. But we'll see you next week if you're still alive. We'd love to have you back
Hammer
here.
fist. Hammer fists.
Thanks for watching.
Hammering butts.